right now. I appreciate multi-factor authentication, but like a love-hate relationship. Corey, coming back to it. That's great.
Hey, I'll be back in 1 minute. I got someone at my door.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, sorry about that.
So I'm currently working on dev, and I'm so trying to figure out like most efficient stuff going forward. But so I'm adding Corey as a user on dev, and that way he can log into dev, and we can work on the online dev rather than local. Does that make
Yep.
sense? Okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna add him as an admin.
Do you want me to start with a recap of what we
Yeah,
covered?
yeah, that would be yeah, that would be good, I think, for us for sure.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah, let me stop.
All right. Okay. So yesterday we set up your full workflow. So we created your, well, we started by creating your Cloud IDEs, which is your local. Same thing. It's like
Mhm.
you were using Lando previously. Now you're using Lando and Docker. Now you're using your Cloud IDE, and you both have that working. And then we created your project because, like, in order to, like, we need something to deploy up to the cloud. So we created the project for the first time using Acquia CMS. And Acquia CMS is, sign out. Acquia's managed distribution that's meant to be like a low code, no code. You just install it and you start building. So this is a distribution that Acquia maintains, and will continue to like maintain it and update it. And it can do a lot. You saw that when you installed it, it added a bunch of other contributor modules and installed a bunch of other stuff and then configured all of it. So you're going to see as you start using that instance of Drupal that a lot of stuff is just like configured already. Like the WYSIWYG editor, all your content types, like search. So it's like a huge head start to any kind of Drupal project. And especially valuable in that they're going to continue maintaining it. With Acquia CMS, they basically like include all the best modules of Drupal from contrib and like maintain that you can just, they pull in all the best modules from contrib and extend them and maintain a build that your build extends. So they maintain a composer project that we're using basically. And so they do a ton of the maintenance over time too, that you'll just get like free upgrades from using it. So we set up your project using Acquia CMS, and we went into the Acquia Cloud interface and went to the subscription area and assigned or associated your Acquia application with a new Code Studio project. So you clicked it from the subscription interface to like create project for this app, which brought you into Code Studio. And Code Studio, we went through the deck. Code Studio is Acquia managed GitLab. So you've used GitHub before, and
Yeah.
GitLab is the same type of service as GitHub, but it does a lot more, and it's my personal favorite. Drupal.org recently converted all their stuff into GitLab just because it's more feature rich. You can do more. And it's both a CI/CD and code management service in one. Because previously you were doing GitHub and Acquia pipelines.
Exactly.
And it's usually typically if a project is using CI/CD, it's always been like a different service. And there's like dozens of CI/CD services, and you're using Acquia pipelines. But like one of the biggest benefits of GitLab is that it's both CI/CD and code management in one. So your project looks like this.
Yeah.
And you got the CI/CD right here, like built in.
Yeah.
So we created your Code Studio project, and then we integrated it with your cloud application by running that ACLI wizard command from your Cloud IDE. And that means that going forward, when you push from Cloud IDE in the Code Studio, it automatically builds and deploys that branch. And if you push on develop, or if you push on main, or you do a merge request into main, it automatically builds and deploys into the dev environment on main Code Studio build. And that's your workflow. We practiced this with a couple changes. Now you're going to be doing your content build. You're like, basically you're going to be, because Acquia CMS is meant to be like low code, no code. That means you can do pretty much everything in the UI. And it's not a whole lot of coding at all.
So I had a question on that, and I'm sure we'll dive into it, but like, is there, for like CSS and stuff like that, rather than working onto a CSS file, is there actually an input for that in the UI?
Yeah, but there's a
Okay,
few ways
awesome.
to do it.
Okay. All right, I will get to that. I just wanted to mention that because I was thinking about that. And make sure we talk about it. Okay.
Site Studio has a CSS builder that like you point and click and you can
That might be a little too much, but yeah, okay.
yeah. But then there's also, I usually add a module called Asset Injector that lets you create CSS and JavaScript like in the UI with like a code editor.
Corey, that's probably like the thing we had on the old SAML, right?
Okay. Yeah. And I usually add that to my project when I'm using Site Studio, because otherwise like 99% of the front end is built using Site Studio, and I don't want to have like a CSS file in my repo. I manage in code and everything else is in the UI. So I usually install Asset Injector, and I have like a global CSS, like one file and a global JavaScript in the and I use a code editor in the Drupal interface. And there's never much in it. There's really no need to. JavaScript is really the only, you might need to do some JavaScript, but Site Studio lets you configure a lot of the behaviors that you would normally need JavaScript for. So yeah, we'll look at that. Yeah, and so because Acquia CMS is supposed to be low code, no code, you can do pretty much everything in the UI, including what you're like, that entire WordPress build, you should be able to do in the UI. Unless you need to start writing like custom functionality, but you can build any UX in the UI. And so that means like it's way faster to do what you and Corey you're going to be doing by building directly in your dev environment. Because that means you don't need to like figure out my content's in dev, I'm deploying configuration up to it and syncing, and like you're often building components and then using it in content.
Okay.
And a normal workflow, like once it's live, is when you'll probably want to start using like an actual like config in your IDE, export, push your config up and sync it in, and then do your content up in the cloud.
Yep.
Because that's how you would do like updates to the production application, and then sync your database down from production routinely. And production becomes the source of truth for content. And you don't want to be like building components on a production site. So like you would do your production, like once it's live, you'll probably do any configuration updates in your Cloud IDE and use the full proper workflow. Yeah.
So, yeah. And I think we want to talk through that configuration stuff because we talked about it yesterday. We probably don't need it right now, but we will need it down the road. So, yeah.
So it's pretty simple. Once it's live, production will be the source of truth for content. But say you want to you're going to do like routine updates to it. Like, will you be maintaining it once it's live and like making updates to it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, basically, SAML will do 99% of the content. And we will, we'll be doing maintenance and features, ads, like they'll be like, oh, we needed to something crazy, you know, and Corey will figure out how to do that. He'll work on that, you know, either locally or in dev. And then we'll have to push it up and sync it up. And obviously content that's stored in the database will stay up, code can move up, but if there's like modules added and things like that we need to migrate through the process, we'll have to figure the best way to do that.
So
And
let's say
even assets, you know, so
assets.
you know, images and stuff like that. If we have to add images when we're building
Yeah.
something out on development.
Those are content too. So you'll have to, let's say like one case would be like you want to add a new module to a production, like once you're live. Then you would go into your CloudIDE, pull the production database down, or pull dev down, depending on like when database was last synced. Usually you pull from dev, because it'll have a set of changes. So like after your production deploy, you sync prod, database, and files back to dev.
Yep.
And then like usually you're going to have like a set of changes that you're deploying at one time. So you do your pulls to your IDE from dev.
After you've synced them from prod, right?
Yeah. So because it's going to have a set of changes. So let's say it's like 5 tickets with like 5 features. Then like you deploy to production, and then you sync the prod database and files to dev after you deploy and test. So like your environments are all the same, aligned. And then, so now you're going to go work on let's say you're going to go install a module, for example. You would say a CLI pull from dev, database and files to your IDE. You don't need to do that for like every ticket. It just depends on like what state you're, like I'll usually, so you'll pull database and files from dev to your IDE, get on your feature branch. So you create feature branch off main. That's assuming main is the current. Composer require the module. Drush enable the module. And now it's installed on your IDE. And then you would run config export. And that would update. If you do git status, then you would see the core.extension.yaml is the config that modules are tracked in. And it would have a new line item. It would have a new like the module would be listed there. And then you would commit and push both the composer.json and composer.lock changes and the core.extension.yaml. You would commit that and push it to Code Studio and create your merge request into main. Merge into main. And then that would build and deploy up into dev. And it would import your configuration using those cloud actions that we looked at automatically. So when it deploys, when the build runs, it deploys it directly into dev, and then the cloud actions that you can enable could automatically do config import.
Right.
And then it'll install the module in dev.
Okay. And that way, if we're working on something and obviously we don't do a content freeze on production, we can still pull that database back down when we do the config import at that point.
Say again?
If we haven't done a content freeze, right? They're still updating content on production. The config import will allow their content to still exist, and we're bringing in the configuration from the database changes.
Yep. So when let's say you did that with like 5 tickets, and now your current main branch has like that module and composer update, but also like a few content types and like a new component for Site Studio. And you would test your deploy by refreshing prod database and files to test environment, and then deploy your code to test. And again, assuming you have the cloud actions enabled, you would see all your configuration would sync in for like your 5 changes.
Mhm.
So it would be like install the module, create the content type, create the component. And then that is now like a simulation of your prod deploy because you just took the database and files and prod to
Yep.
test.
Yep. We can actually test it there.
You know, and it's repeatable. So like you can refresh it again and deploy again. Sometimes you only need to do it once. You might need to do it more. And then when you're ready, then you deploy that. You merge main, assuming if you had develop and main as your branches, then you would merge develop into main, deploy main up to prod. You said you were using a develop and master workflow, so you know how that works, right?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So as far as like the next step for us to build the site, should we just work in the UI up on dev, or should we pull, like I just added users, so we can pull those locally? Should Corey be working locally in his local IDE or for,
I mean, what I would do is I would start with the feeds and do an import of the content
Mhm.
to get, and that would do your structured data import. And then I would just like, what's the site you're trying to build? Palms Casino?
Yeah, palms.com, I believe. So maybe, because what I would love to get is it out of this is, you know, that import thing, if that works, that'd be fantastic. And you know, maybe we do that on a local so that if it doesn't go well, we can just ditch it. But I'd love to get that. And then maybe just into Site Studio, like some of the best practices of Site Studio. And you can show us some stuff. You can screen share and show us some stuff, and then you know, Corey's going to do most of it. Corey can share a screen and you can talk him through, because I think Corey mentioned yesterday, like understanding the components, creating components, adding components would be cool in Site Studio.
Yeah.
And there's a few content types here, because I think there's going to be rooms. You know, we have a bit of a structure kind of figured out that doesn't completely align with this, but if we get most of the content over there, Corey, does that work for where you think? Is that your best bet? Or is there other questions?
Sounds good.
Yeah, what I can do, if you want to send me if you run Just ULI and then paste the link, I can log into your dev
Okay.
and like show you the process of recreating this with Site
Okay.
Studio.
That'd be great. Okay, let me get to. So right now I've created users on the online dev site. Should I pull that down? Or the Drush URL I'll give you to the dev server, right?
You can do drush at palms.dev
Okay, hold on.
ULI.
I'm gonna grab my share real quick. So hang on. Oh yeah, can you drop out and let me share best?
Oh yeah.
Just. All right, so I can get to the workspace from here, right?
Yeah, if you click Palms application, you'll see your IDE and you can click open or launch IDE.
So that should take me right to the command prompt for that, right?
Yep.
Or not.
And you can just hit the X. This is always going to show up, even though it's already configured.
Gotcha.
And then do terminal, new terminal.
Okay, and Drush ULI, is that what you said?
Yep, at palms.dev ULI.
Copy that. All right, and then I'll drop share.
All right. Okay. I'm not sure. Okay. Can you see now?
Yep, I got you.
All right. So here we are. In your dev environment, there is currently no content. I'm going to create a home page. Published. Anyway, let's send an email. And this is node 1. I'm going to create 2 other pages because I want to configure the site. 404 error. And it probably doesn't make a ton of sense to start with these, but I'm about to configure that form. I just want to have these ready. All right, so now I have 3 nodes. They are 1, 6, 11. So I'm going to go system, basic site settings, prompts. What's the full title? I'm seeing what they're using for a page title. It says Ponds Casino Resort.
Very creative.
Yeah. Node 1, 6, 11. Get the favicon. So I'm starting with like global settings. Oh. Hmm. Hmm. Wonder how they're anyways, you can there's tools like
Yeah,
download favicon.
we can create one. I mean, we'll steal one, we'll create one, we'll see what they got, but yeah, I need to create one, I will. Can.
That does not seem right what they just did. I'll move on. Okay, so usually what I like to do is stub out the pages so I have a sense of like the overall build. So I'll go and create pages for each of these. And then submenu items. This is going to be a full. Okay.
So for instance, I think we're gonna have a content type with a view for like the rooms or something like that, maybe meeting rooms. I think that's how we were talking about it, right, Corey? And then maybe restaurants, possibly, I'm not sure.
I usually do the same thing. I stub out. I do like I create a page for the top nav. That's my process as well. That's how I do it, and then you can double back for all the rest of it.
Okay. So now, let's see. Yep. All right. So I'm gonna do the home page and the global header footer. So this is the header. And from here down is the footer. And Site Studio gives, these come out of the box. I'm gonna like delete what's there. And so this is called the master template. The master template is like the overall page wrapper. So you can see site header, site footer, and then the content region. So this is the master template. This is the overall page layout. And that's usually where the header and footer are. And Site Studio does these as components, even though they're not really components. So if I go to the component screen, I'll see site header and site footer on there. So site header, site footer. And this is, so this here is this. And I usually on my builds just delete what's there and not try to modify it because it's so different.
You basically just frame out a new one.
Yep. So there's 2 rows. And this one has 2 columns. This one you could say has. So there's 2 ways to do grids or like columns like this. You can do container and then row for columns, column, column. Yeah, I'll do it like this. And then row, column, 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 column. Column, column, column. Oh, and actually, I'll do that in a minute. Logo right here. So that. And I don't like this editor or the
Media browser.
yeah, there's a different
Dude,
one.
yeah, because forever Corey and I've hated that. Right, Corey? Like that IMCE.
Well, I never, I like.
Oh, really? You
Yeah.
like it? Oh, I've always.
Well, there's you can set the media library to be the default instead. System settings, image browser, media library. So you can change this back later if you want to. Okay. All right. So now it should use the media library. There we go. Now we're talking. Oh. So there is the media SVG module. I just need to say image SVG. Well, SVG. But it might not know how to treat it. Yeah, I think you have to add the media SVG module. Corey, if you want to add that to Composer and do a push, media underscore SVG.
Yeah, I'm gonna step away for just a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. Corey, are you adding the media SVG module?
Yeah,
Okay. And wait till Steven's back. Actually, I'm gonna step away from it too.
so is it SVG image? Because yeah, SVG doesn't exist.
Steven, are you back yet?
I was
So
about to
what
talk-
was the module?
Media or image underscore SVG.
Okay.
So I think what might be really cool is.
Yeah, that's not
Sorry.
it either.
It was SVG underscore.
SVG image.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I wonder if we can do a full workflow, like let's do some work here, let's push it up to prod. And then maybe we go through, you know, pull it locally, maybe just run an update, even though we don't have one necessarily. Push back up to dev,
Yeah.
the configs, and then, you know, basically at that point, we'll have done our entire workflow. So yeah, this is great. Let's get Site Studio. Let's kind of learn that stuff. And then at the end, we'll just do a full, you know, we'll put it to prod. We'll put some content in maybe on prod as if they were users, just do some edits, sync it all
Yeah.
up. Does that work?
Do you want to start with the workflow stuff? Because it's kind of like what I should be talking about.
Yeah, yeah. But I was thinking like if we need to push, yeah, we can push through to prod right now. As soon as you have something, you can push that from dev to prod, actually have it in a prod environment and do that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
All right, it's in and installed.
here,
Just a
Steven, why
di-
don't you share? And
Just a push to,
yeah, just
Corey's
push
gonna push. All right.
Corey's pushing that to main. It'll be in dev shortly. So what we'll do is we'll deploy what's currently in dev right now. We'll move that database and files up to prod and pretend like it's production now.
Perfect. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yep. And that's just gonna be, are we gonna drag those or are we going, to, you know, from here? Are we gonna do it from ID?
So drag the code from dev to prod and that'll create a tag.
Okay, cool.
Even though later you'll have develop in main. Where's that?
That's from yesterday.
Do you want to click on the failed and see what failed?
It looks like there was 2 feeds modules pushes though. This one succeeded.
Can you click on the one that failed and then click the left? No, if you go back to the last tab and then click the where it says build code. Okay, you just have to restart it. Sometimes this happens. In the top right, you just click the blue icon.
All right there.
Yep.
Cool.
So did the push happen?
So if you go back to the Acquia Cloud UI and drag the code from dev to prod.
Do we need to wait for that, the feeds push and Corey's push to go up?
No, we can send what's there now and then it's fine. And then drag the database and files up. This will be what you do when you launch. You're gonna bring your database and files up to prod.
Mhm. Yeah, this is pretty familiar.
Yep. We can probably start now by do you want Corey to do the steps or do you want to?
Either way, we're just gonna record them, so. Corey, do you wanna do them so that you're getting guided through, or you wanna watch me?
I'll watch.
Okay. So if you go back to CloudIDE, you should pull the
ACLI pull?
or
Prod?
do git pull origin main after Corey pushes his code.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. I see it running right now.
Yeah. Yeah, so now do a git pull origin main.
Oh, that's right. We can do that because it's already in. It doesn't matter that it isn't rolled out to the server yet. Okay.
Right. That says get. It says get.
I know. It's habitual. I was telling that to Corey yesterday. It's like, it's so hard to type when somebody's watching you. Forget how to type.
Now if you do composer install, you have to remember the dependencies are not committed to the code base. All right, so now we're gonna pull database and files from dev, assuming that it was recently updated from prod. Like as if we were production mode.
Yeah.
So you do ACLI pull. Oh yeah. You have to generate the backup. So you need the exact command that we were using yesterday.
Corey was doing that one. What was it? We have to do the database pull though, right? CLI.
Yeah, it's ACLI pull database on demand or something.
Is it pull colon database like that? or
Pull
is it-
colon database dash on demand space dash no scripts space dash no interactions. No dash interaction, all those are. No dash scripts
And then,
dash no dash interactions.
Singular.
Interaction, right, sorry about that.
Yeah, I would put that in your cheat sheet.
yeah, I'm gonna copy it right now and paste it someplace else to drop it in there later. Okay. And then I can do, ACLI get pull, and that'll pull the code base and the files, right?
Or
should I do, because we don't need to do the rsync and the sync, right? Or should I do rsync for file?
yeah, you don't need to do both. You should always do both. Well, not always. I mean, sometimes you know that there's nothing changed since you last did it. Okay.
So now I'm gonna do the rsync, yeah?
Yep.
All right.
So now like you could log into, you could log into that and then go to the extend tab and install SVG image. Or you could use Drush to install it.
So what's my drush command to install it?
Drush en-y.
Yeah,
You need a
Space.
space.
Yeah,
Oh.
space dashboard.
oh, that's right. All right. Okay. And then how do I launch my local environment from here? What's the, like, the ULI?
Well, you didn't space SVG underscore
Yeah,
image.
you didn't
Oh,
install
sorry.
anything.
What is the name of it?
Image underscore SVG.
I think SVG underscore image.
Is it?
Yeah. SVG underscore.
Okay. Now, Drush ULI is how you would log into that site.
Awesome.
So now if you go back to CloudIDE, I don't know if you want to create a feature branch and do a merge request, or you just want to push directly on. Oh, you have to do Drush config export to get the updated core.extension.yaml. Config : export.
Config : export, yeah.
And I always do a -y. It's always an option to do -y.
So that I don't have to go through the yeses. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now if you do git status, you should see those changes.
Yeah, the changes to the README. There's the
And if you do git diff, diff is in Fox. And then keep hitting enter.
so this is going to show the, there you go. Okay. Okay.
Not sure why the feeds thing updated, but you should still commit it.
Okay.
Unless somebody went into that UI and did something.
Not knowing.
Yeah. All right. So now do you want to commit and push while you're scrolling that, you can hit Q to quit without having to scroll all the way down.
Yeah,
Um,
let's commit this in.
Do you want to do it on a feature branch or do you want to push it directly on main?
Let's do a feature branch just so we can go through the UI with the merge and all that other stuff. So I'm gonna do. Let's call this. Right?
-B. Get checkout -B.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
branch.
to create a branch, right?
Yep, these are
Um,
your cheat sheet.
Yeah. Okay. That should put me on that branch. Yep. And now I can just push it, right? Because I've already made the
You have to
add.
add commit push.
Right?
Yep, get commit, get push.
Sorry, that message. How do I escape from here?
:WQ.
Okay, sorry. I didn't do this yesterday. Get push. And branch name or just push?
Branch name, get push origin branch name.
Right? I'm pushing that branch in, or do I say where I'm pushing it into main? So I gotta do the merge, right? So I'm pushing that.
Yep.
And now I
click
got it. And then I click this, right, to get to the. Add SVG. And I could just say. And then anything else here? Or can I just create my merge? Yeah, we're good, right?
Yep.
And then do I do this merge when pipeline succeeds? So it just forces the merge in.
Yeah, I would force it now, so you have to wait.
Okay.
And you're gonna see that.
So they do the merge immediately then.
I would.
Okay.
Um,
I'm confident about that. Okay. Going. All right.
I can be a maverick in my workflows.
All right. So let's go back and
And just remember that you're gonna see a failed build, but it's not the one that deploys to main.
gotcha.
The build that was for that feature branch is gonna fail in the last step because that branch no longer exists.
So this one's gonna fail. Right.
Yeah.
Or one of these two is gonna fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of those three. I think the third one from the top. All right, so now that is going to sync into dev. And you can, so do you want to enable the cloud actions in dev, or do you want to run the command manually to update it?
So the cloud actions would make it automatically merge the
Yeah.
okay.
Now let's try it out.
Okay.
Click dev. And then actions configure. And yeah. And then also enable,
So I'm gonna enable
you have to
to
hit the top.
import. Oh yeah, this, and then I'm gonna import configurations, and then what else?
Yep. And then clear both of those caches.
All
Yeah,
three of those.
Yep,
That's it.
yep.
Uh-oh. Hang on one sec. Sorry, man, UPS showed up.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, so that's saved. So that means it's gonna automatically. How would we do it? Oh, no, I think we'll leave that on, right, Corey? We'll have it automatically import those.
But how would you do it is just drush at the alias, config import.
And then you have to target yeah, so at the alias, yeah. So add
Yep.
dev, okay, cool.
Yeah, drush at palm.dev, config import, and also run database updates. Oh, we didn't check that one. I meant to say check that one. Run database updates too.
Yep, okay.
That'll update any modules that needed it. So like routinely when you do composer update and your modules update, you need to run the database updates. And you don't have the drush command for that, I think. If not, it's updb. I'll make sure the cheat sheet has it.
Okay, let's see. This database files from prod now. Do you wanna send that to me in text and I'll drop it in here?
Yeah. Just updb-y.
That is for. That database updates is that?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, cool. So. Let's see.
So now that build is going to take probably a couple more minutes.
Okay.
And then you'll see it arrive in dev. One thing I'm going to check is that the Site Studio rebuild. I want to make sure that if we update a component, that it updates the component's assets.
Okay.
And which should happen when you do config import, but we'll check by doing one thing at a time. Let's see if this works, and then let's explain it.
Okay. Watching paint dry. Yeah, so that one failed because we did the forced merge,
Okay.
right? That's what we expected.
Mhm.
Alright, so that's our prod environment. This is our dev environment, and that's my local.
Hmm.
Okay,
Alright,
so we're up.
I would, so let's look at the Acquia Cloud UI.
Okay.
And see what it says. Oh, you can see there, can you expand the commit that's running down in the task log? Yeah, that. Okay, when this finishes, I want to see if it has a Cloud Actions output.
Okay. Oh, to see if it actually did stuff we checked off, right?
Yep,
Configurations in the data.
yep.
Getting spammed in my email by Code Studio.
Now I know the feeling. Clients. I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna make a, while this is running, I'm just gonna make a quick call.
Okay.
Corey, I gotta call Davis real fast, let him know that he needs to check his email. I did. Still rolling? Okay. Corey, I'm gonna. Brian, give me a yell if that thing finishes. I'm gonna step away from the computer for a minute, make some coffee.
Okay.
And I guess I can come back and take a look at it. Acquia.
All right, it's done.
Come back. Coffee's done.
Okay. Oh, it's still
Done?
running.
No, it's still. Oh yeah, no, it says it's
Yeah.
done. I guess my screen was just
Yeah. I'm not seeing the output from.
so maybe the save was after this commit started, so it didn't
Yeah,
it didn't
we
run
did
them.
it before.
What are we looking for?
The Acquia Cloud actions output.
Hmm,
See if it actually did the automatic configuration.
got it, got it, got it.
Oh, I see, I see. Scroll up. And click the code toggle next to for dev. Main Code Studio build, check that. And try continue. There we go. So
So
yeah,
there's your cloud action.
yeah. So it runs it when you do this, not when.
Got you. Okay. So it doesn't push. So even though we're pushing a main, there's a main and a main code studio build. Yeah.
Well, you're deploying the same branch, but what you just did is considered like post code deploy when you click the button.
Okay.
But if a commit just goes automatically into an environment, then it's post code update. And it doesn't work for post code update apparently.
So this is actually running that commit now. Okay.
So, the configurations, like any click anywhere without even checking a box changes that. Like for instance, click extend just to make sure the SVG module actually is there. Does that change the configuration?
No,
Oh, okay, because I'm like, I'm not doing anything, but like the things were like, yeah, okay.
All right. So we're deploying this code up here. We have a site running. We have nothing in stage, but that's fine. We have a site running in production, which is our site here.
enable the cloud actions for prod, the same ones.
Okay, cool.
I would do them in prod and test, and then later you'll just disable it for dev.
Okay. All right. So let's do. So we're gonna do clear Drupal cache. Oh, I gotta turn it here. Drupal crash. Run database updates.
Yep.
Import configurations and clear that, right? All that?
Yep.
Cool. And then we'll do it on stage as well. Right? No, we're not sanitizing. All right.
Did you enable it for prod?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good for prod and for staging.
So if you drag this over to that
Do I
right,
need, do I
if
need
you
to wait
drag-
for the deploy to finish or doesn't matter?
yeah, I guess so.
Okay, there we go. So now I'm just gonna drag the code over, right?
Yep.
So there's the cloud actions that are enabled already.
Yep.
Oh, and you can edit them right there if you ad hoc don't need to do something. Okay.
Cool.
So now, hypothetically, that SVG. What would be? Guess I could have checked that under configuration.
You hit extend and you check the module.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah,
And-
it's still deploying.
Oh, it's still deploying. All right.
So can we stop a few minutes early?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Cause I have a 11:30, so that'd be great for me. We just
Okay,
want to
well,
reconnect this afternoon.
Yep,
Perfect. All right. Thanks, man. We'll see you then.
yep.
All right.